How's it going, everyone? This is the Mac and Murray College Football Show, the Week 5 preview show where we will be breaking down all the top games from this upcoming weekend, and it is a monster weekend. This is the one where you get the schedule and you look ahead and you say, wife, husband, if you like, whatever, anyone, significant other, my butt is going to be on a couch or in a stadium watching football games. That's how good this weekend's going to be. Alabama, Georgia, FSU, Virginia on Friday night. Get a little nice one to get going for the weekend. Oregon, Penn State, LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas A&M, and USC going to Champaign, Illinois. It is a monster weekend. There's some other really good games we may touch on the end as well. But I love college football, Mac. It has been a great season, and this weekend is going to be absolutely, absolutely nuts.
It really is. This is the weekend, all summer, all preseason. Everybody's like, don't talk to me. No weddings. I'm not doing anything. This is where I'll be. And it's finally here, and it's going to be really exciting. Week 1 was unbelievable, and there was a lot of headlining matchups. I think this one's better because we know who the teams are. We're not guessing. We know what we're going to get, and I think it's going to be a really extremely fun product. I can't wait to see it, man. And starting with your freaking dogs hosting the Tide, who looks really good. Both these teams look really good. I cannot wait to see what happens in this one.
Yeah, I think both teams are heading to it feeling better about their teams, but still a lot of question marks too. Like I know you said, and I agree, like at this point in the season, we're starting to learn a lot about these football teams. What do you got on both sides of the football? What are areas of concern? And I think, we're going to learn a little bit more about FSU too this weekend. We'll get to that game. But I think for Georgia and for Alabama for that bye week to win a game against a Power 4 team. And I think that there's still a little bit of question marks of obviously, Georgia defensively, how do they stop the passing attack? I think there's questions for Alabama of like, yeah, you beat Wisconsin, but hell, Wisconsin a week ago was, chanting fire Fickle during their loss. I mean, it's just not a very good team. So like how good of a barometer is it to measure Alabama against Wisconsin, knowing that you're about to go on the road to Athens, Georgia, a place where the Bulldogs don't lose. So I think there's a lot of confidence. I still think there's some question marks. But I'll start with Alabama first, just because I think everyone expected me to start with Georgia first. So I'm gonna flip it over to Alabama.
You're tricking them. Come on.
I'm tricking them a little bit. I like Ty Simpson. If you go back to our week 1 post weekend show, I talked about how I thought Ty actually played a decent game. There's areas of improvement, but he was far from the area that needed to be improved going forward if Alabama was going to be true contenders. But you have seen him really take his game to another level with his footwork, with his timing, anticipation, and then just confidence in the pocket. And it helps when you have two of the best, I think maybe two of the best receiver tandems in all of college football. Jeremy Bernard right now is playing on a different level. He has been their go-to guy to start the season. And then all of a sudden now Ryan Williams is really starting to come and feel his own, coming into his own as of the last game against Wisconsin. So you have a quarterback that's playing with a lot of confidence. You have 2 elite receivers playing with a lot of confidence. You got Isaiah Horton as well, who I like. The question comes down to in this game for me, when you look at just Alabama offensively, is Jam Miller should be back, but you cannot be one-dimensional in a game on the road against a Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann defense. Right. And it's going against any defense. It doesn't matter how good the passing game is. If you're one-dimensional, EMAC, you're going to get eaten up and they're going to figure you out.
Correct. Because then they can just tee off. If you're just throwing it, every single play, Kirby and the boys pin their ears back and let's go. They're going to go to work, and that is tough. So you want to have that balance, but also lean into what you're good at. And I think Ty has been fantastic, very efficient, throwing the ball, and we've seen him, grow up. And what I love that I've heard from him, this last week, I believe it was, or maybe it was this past weekend, where people were asking him, he had options to transfer, and Bama's trying to bring guys in and bringing young guys in and really trying to replace him, not wanting him, to be on the field if he can't do it. And he said, I chose this place for a reason. I wanted to be the guy here. I'm not going anywhere. I was never going to leave. And I think that means something, in a day and age where people are going to the highest bidder and people are transferring to get money. There's still those guys out there like Gunnar Stockton, like Ty Simpson, that wanted to go to their schools, and that just means that much more to them when they perform. I'm fascinated to see that quarterback matchup and just how those guys do. And like you said, a passing attack that Tennessee obviously was able to take advantage of. that defense, and how much can Ty and these receivers that we think are better, more established at least, how can they take advantage of it? Obviously, you got to protect your guy, like I said, when they know that it's going to come to fruition. But running the ball will be interesting because if you can throw to run, that's when you can really start operating at another level for Alabama.
Yeah, I think the last thing for them is I think this is a big game for both sides of the football of winning the first down in the sense of for Alabama, obviously, Georgia is, I know, doesn't get a lot of praise for how crazy the atmosphere is, but it's going to be raucous, man. Like you think of big games in years past of how loud that stadium gets, and it can get moving, it can get
Hold
shaken,
on, is that a
it can be
thing? People
intimidating as
don't give
hell.
they don't give that stadium credit? Really?
Not really, man. Like
Really?
I think from the outside, people are like, "Oh, it's not LSU or it's not
Interesting,
Tennessee."
interesting.
So like
That's
it's
a
not
hard
that loud.
place
I
to
was like,
play. I can,
"Ah."
attest to that. I've been there,
Yeah.
done that. It's not
Yeah, it
easy.
gets it
It's
gets
not
pretty
easy.
loud. It gets pretty
Yeah,
intimidating, especially when you know
for
the
sure.
caliber of defense you're going against. I think Alabama
Right.
has to find a way to be able to run the ball, and maybe that's a little bit of using the receivers as well, whether that's quick screens on the outside. We've seen Jeremy Bernard get some jet sweeps. Maybe you incorporate him in the run game. Obviously, Ty Simpson can run the football as well. I don't know how many licks you want him to get during the season, but I think this is kind of an all hands on deck when it comes to running the football, whatever way we can do it. If Jam looks good and Jam's rolling, let's go. If it's Ty Simpson having to pull it on some zone reads, then it's Ty. If it's Bernard on some jet sweeps or Ryan Williams, then that's it. But you have to find a way to win between the 0 to 5 yards
Right.
and get get what we call the nasty four. Can you get the nasty four? Can you not be in second and third and long saying, "Hey, Ty Simpson on the road, communication is going to be difficult. Go out there and find a way to execute." So I'm interested to see early on, does Alabama and that offensive staff with Ryan Grubb say, "You know what? We've seen enough. We know it's not going to work, and we're just going to
Mhm.
come out just throwing the football."
Right.
Or if they're gonna say, "You know what? We're gonna give it at least a quarter or 2
Yeah.
and see if we can get something." It doesn't have to be great. Like, I'm
Sure.
not expecting,
Just something.
150 yards
Yeah.
rushing, but, like,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
has gotta get going. And flipping over to defensively for Georgia, I mean, that's the big key. Like, where's your confidence right now? Because
Mhm.
we've all seen the highlights. Tennessee torched them. They won one-on-one battles. They won 50-50 balls, and you can't tell me as a football player, when you line up against Bernard and Ryan Williams, even with a bye week, that you're going out there playing with a lot of confidence. I mean,
Yeah.
like, that's just like, for you, if you got whooped up at offensive line and you go against another great defensive line the next week, yeah, you're motivated to go out there, but it's kind of in the back of your head a little bit, you
Mhm.
would think.
Mhm. No, it is, and I think, when you're looking at it, um that they have to be able to apply pressure too, and up front and help those DBs, right? Like, don't just allow, when it's one on one, which obviously means, or man to man, excuse me, when you're bringing pressures, you're sending blitzes, you got to get home. The fact that they had one sack against Tennessee, who threw it almost 40 times, and they were sending blitzes, it's not like they were just in coverage. They were sending it and they were going man a lot. That's a little unusual. That's not what we really expect from Georgia. And listen, this is a good offensive line from Alabama, and those guys in Tallahassee had success. Can you replicate that? Can you try to copy that, against them? I'm fascinated to see that because you're right. I mean, those DBs, the last time we saw them, were giving up huge plays,
Yep.
huge touchdowns, and missing tackles and missing coverage busts and things of that nature. So where are they? Because you're going to see a carbon copy, and guess what? Probably a better receiving core
Yeah.
right now. And where are you mentally? The good thing is you're at home. Lean on your crowd. Lean on some chaos, but I've got to see more pressure from Georgia
Yeah.
up front, whether that's
100%.
with linebackers or just your front four,
Well, and
front
and we
three
did I
down.
talk about Ty Simpson looking better. I think the reason Ty Simpson looked better compared to Florida State is his footwork. It almost looks like it's 7-on-7, especially you look back at that Wisconsin game. Like everything was 3. They were off coverage, not a lot of press from Wisconsin. So it was almost like you're throwing on air. It's like, all right, 1, 2, 3. I know my guy's going to be at this depth because he's not getting press. I'm not feeling the heat from the defense, and
Yeah.
I can just go from 1, 2, 3 check down or
Mhm.
1 free access throw. Like nothing got him off the spot as a quarterback, and nothing really threw off the timing from the receiver's perspective as well.
But
So
that's what Aguilar looked like too 2 weeks
yeah,
ago.
I know,
Like
I know.
watching back that tape, it's just like, man, we
You
gotta
gotta
get
get
to
him
him.
off the
Gotta
spot.
get to
You
him.
gotta
Yeah.
find a way to and I honestly think you have to understand too, like, to go into a game like this and think that Ryan Williams isn't gonna create some explosive plays or Bernard is naive and stupid. I think you have to understand that we're gonna lose some. Like, I'm not gonna not press. a receiver because I'm afraid they're gonna beat me, because
Mhm.
then they're just gonna dink and dunk, and he's so good after the catch too, that he's just as likely to get an explosive play with the ball in his hands on a 10-yard in route as he is a post route. But you have to throw off the timing with Ty Simpson and the receivers. That starts with D line and starts with those DBs being disruptive as well, Emac.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and it's gonna be fun to look at that matchup. I tell you, when I'm watching that Tennessee game, and I'm looking at the Georgia offense too, though, Gunner is playing. Like,
Oh, playing
Gunner
great.
was slinging it, and, that first, I think it was the first drive, might have been the first play, first couple plays where he throws that deep ball. I mean, it's
First
as
play.
good as it gets. It's as good as it gets, man, where he has the protection, outside shoulder, receiver does a great job, late hands, he's looking, and then boom, he flashes them at the last moment. If you have to go shot for shot, Gunner makes me, after seeing the Tennessee game, I feel much better. And I
Yep.
thought the offensive line, there were spurts. Like, we got to get consistent because Bama, are they going to be able to take advantage of some of the poor play at times from that offensive line? Now, there were also times where Georgia marched down the field. They just ran the ball, and those guys were mowing them down. But then there's others where they give up a couple of sacks in a row, causes some picks, things that, like, the inconsistencies from the offensive line. Again, you're at home. I think that'll be better, but that's a big attention to detail for me
Well, I
this
mean,
year, this
you say at
weekend.
home, but I mean, they were very inconsistent early in the season, even at home too. So
Yeah.
I still have question marks about the offensive line and that consistency and being able to protect Gunner. But I think they can run the football. I think that's one way you do protect Gunner is you just got to run it. I think Frazier's look good. I love the speed of Dwight Phillips. Obviously, Gunner can run the football. I mean, go back to that first game against FSU, and he's not Castellanos, but Gunner can run the football, and
It's
that
effective.
gave
Yeah.
Alabama some fits. So I do expect Gunner to be a more of a factor in the run game as well. But no, I think for him, there was a lot of question marks heading into that Tennessee game of like, is Gunner the long-term answer at quarterback for
Mhm.
Georgia? He's now answered that. So as we talk about the DBs having, maybe not as ton of confidence heading into this game for Georgia, I think for Gunner, there is a ton of confidence. I think there's confidence from him, the receivers, the offensive line, to where that unit as a whole feels like, hey guys, like we went on the road and had success against a good defense and a defense that was going to bring a variety of blitzes, and we handled it pretty well. Let's take that and now continue that on, home against another quality defense in Alabama. So
Yeah.
I expect a confident Gunner Stockton coming out there, letting it fling against an Alabama defense that I still believe is legit. It's
Right.
still one of the best in the country. And I think that I go back to that week one, they got punched in the mouth. I don't think they're ready for the speed of Castellanos and the playmaking ability. And you saw the lack of hustle. But since that game, Alabama defensively has been fast. They've
Yeah.
been physical. They've hustled. They've looked like the defense that
We
that
thought it would be.
we all anticipated they thought they would be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Going back to Georgia for a second offensively, what would you want to see more from Branch? Like, do you want to see him involve more? Have you been happy with his involvement, more touches? He just feels like he's too special of a guy to not force feed at times.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's the best player in Georgia's offense. I mean, he's
Yeah.
the most explosive player in Georgia's offense.
Yeah.
So I would say yes, but I think the other guys are playing well too. I think Colby Young has been absolutely terrific. He's been super physical. I think London Humphreys has been terrific as well. Like I said, I think the running backs have done a really good job to start the season. So, I think as many times as you can find a way to get him matched up, you want to be able to get the ball in his hands. And,
Mhm.
whether it's quick screens, he's done a good job over the middle of the field as well. Um, I wouldn't say that they haven't done enough. I think they've done well, but
Okay.
there's
You feel good
always,
about
if you can find another 1 or 2 touches for
Sure.
him,
Sure.
even in a jet sweep scenario, you wanna find a way to get the ball in Zach Branch's hand.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think tight ends are another piece that I want to see. That's such a staple for
Yeah.
Georgia. That I think you have talented guys. Maybe it's whatever, but find ways to get them the ball, especially in this matchup. If Alabama thinks there's some opposition there, some strength there, getting to him, release that tight end. Just be your little outlet. Just
Yeah.
dump it right to him. Let him kind of create there. And then, similarly for, Alabama, they don't have a ton of stats defensively sacking the quarterback. This is an interesting game for both. And how will they be able to take advantage of it? Whose offensive line plays better, I think will be a really big indicator like it typically kind of is here. What are you feeling of this game, man? You feeling good about your
Woo! I
dogs?
mean,
Had to lose at home.
I feel like a nervous Georgia fan at times, and have to obviously put that hat aside as I look into these big time matchups. But I think the one thing that, I went back and looked at Alabama over the past 2 seasons and what it's been like under Kalen DeBoer. And the one thing that's got him is playing on the road. Last year, their 3 losses were on the road against Vanderbilt, against, Tennessee, and against Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah.
And then you look this year, they lost to Florida State on the road. What does Georgia do? Well, they win at home. So you're
Mhm.
talking about a team and Kalen DeBoer's first year in a few games has lost 4 times on the road. And then you're talking about a Kirby Smart team that doesn't lose at home. So I kind of look at that as like kind of my break point because I think both
Yeah,
these teams are pretty equal. I think both quarterbacks are playing at a high level. I think both skills are playing at a high level. Would like to see both offensive lines play a little bit better. We've seen the defenses struggle at different points this season,
right.
but still know that there's a lot of talent for both those defenses. So it's a very equal matchup. These are two of the best teams in America. This is going to be one of the best games in this entire college football season. It is going to be tight. And that's why Vegas has it as a 2.5, I think 2.5 right now,
Yeah,
which
two
is
and a half
essentially
right
a pick 'em
now. Yeah,
because Georgia's favored at home. So I'll lean into the fact that Georgia does not lose at home
yeah.
and that Kalen DeBoer and especially that offense has struggled on the road over their past, what, 15 games.
Yeah, yeah, it's a safe pick. It's a safe pick. I think because
Is it a
Bama's
safe pick? Because
line
Georgia's 1-6
I think
against
because all those
Alabama.
things you said, all those
Yeah.
thi it makes sense. Like, it's not just, "I played at Georgia, I picked Georgia." I think there's logic and reason behind it. But I think because Bama's offensive line's playing better, because of the matchup that I believe Alabama can take advantage of with the wide receivers, I think Bama is going to do this thing. Now, is it a game-winning field goal? Is it a last-second play? I do think it's going to be a war, and I probably would take
Yeah.
the over too. It's at 52.5 right now.
I would
I
take the
think the
over.
way both these defenses are playing, like, go up, go
Yeah.
over that thing. So I'm going to take the Tide here, which feels weird because again, all the things you said about home, Kirby doesn't lose. That's a big deal, but I just think those DBs are going to let them down, and I think Ty and the boys have a pretty big day.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next game. Florida State going to Virginia this weekend. You know, big buzz about Florida State after that big win against Alabama, who we just talked about, and really have been quiet since then. They played East Texas A&M and
Hey,
Kent
they ain't been
State.
quiet. They've been smacking the
Well,
shit out
yeah,
of
I was
people.
about to say that. I think the one thing is you've seen other big time teams this year against lesser opponents kind of fall asleep. The
Right.
one thing that does give me confidence in Florida State in this game and then going forward is the fact like I feel like they're on a different speed. It's like I
Mhm.
don't care who we're playing.
Yeah.
We're out to kill. We're out to
Mhm.
eat. We're out to make
Mhm.
plays on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
And I think that just shows a lot of maturity with inside that locker room. And a lot of obviously, you know, our pride was hurt a year ago with how bad the season went. We ain't taking a week off. We ain't gonna have a letdown week. Every week, like I said, we're out to go out there and embarrass someone, and they've done that so far this season.
Yeah, man, they've been so fun to watch. Number 1 offense in the country when you look at scoring, yards, things of that nature. They are moving the football. Now, again, I get who they played, but when you do that and you take care of business, that's impressive in its own right and its own nature because you're not letting up. It's not about the opponent, it's about us. And Florida State gets that. And the Gus bus is rolling. We wondered what that would look like and how much that would alleviate stress from Coach Mike Norvell, what that would look like with this personnel. And it's looked fantastic. I mean, they're the number 1 rushing team with the things that they want to do. They had like 8 rushing touchdowns last week. That's unbelievable.
498 rushing yards
Crazy.
last week.
Program
Okay,
record.
school record,
Program record.
school record.
Stupid. It's so dumb to see the things that they're able to do. And the fact that your leading rusher is a freshman wide receiver. Like that guy's so dynamic because they've just gotten different guys in. They haven't
Yep.
kept their starters in too long. They're as dynamic as it gets. And that's what I'm interested in seeing in this game, Aaron. When this looks close, I think I'm trying to find the spread right now. I think it's 6.5. Do they just blow it out? Do they just say, "Hey, bump all that. We're the Florida State of old. This is what we're gonna do. I don't care it's Friday night. I don't care it's spooky Charlottesville. Here we go." I'm excited to see it. I think they're physical. I think they overwhelm everybody. We talk about Miami having the 2 best lines of scrimmage in the world. Florida State has shown that they're close to that, and I can't
Yeah.
wait to see that war in a couple weeks. We'll be there in person. That's
Do you
gonna
know
be a
anything
fun
about
deal.
Tommy Fulgo from everything you're hearing?
He's good, man. Look, it
Okay.
was weird though, seeing him walk off. That was scary,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he's limping away, but let me tell you that by the 4th quarter, that dude's out there dancing and jumping around,
Yeah.
like, he's fine.
He's good. He's good to go.
He's totally good.
Yeah, I think the way he's played and looked, I just think he's
Yeah,
just so overwhelming for defenses. I just think
he
he's just
is.
way too much for the dude. But I mean, that is the one thing that if Virginia's going to win at home on a Friday night, when we all know crazy things happen during these week time games, uh, is you have to stop him. I mean, it is kind of from a Virginia perspective, and we'll get to their offense because I do think they got some pretty good dudes on offense.
Oh yeah.
But from a defensive perspective for Virginia, it is we just got to sell out to stop Tommy and his legs. And I think it is kind of a we're willing to maybe give up some big explosive plays in the pass game. We still want to see how good of a passer he is down the field. He's been tremendous throwing the football this year.
Mm.
But if you're going to create the upset, because I think if you don't, I love Florida State with the points there. I think Florida State wins this game by double digits. I agree with you. I love the physicality they're playing with on both sides. I love the speed. I love the speed they have in offense from the
Yeah.
receivers to obviously Castellanos. I just think it's going to be a little bit too much for Virginia unless they find a way to bottle him up and
Right.
make him a passer and make him win throwing the ball 25 to 30 times.
Exactly.
That's the
And
only way you
that's
can do it.
yeah, that's what I'm interested. Can they do? Like if you say what's the concern or what's the question mark or what's the focal point, that's it. I know what a Gus Malzahn offense looks like. Running, running, running. Like that's the big, big focal point. But if you are forced to throw the football, can you?
Yep.
That's what I want to see. Now, I love the guys like you mentioned and the speed that they have, particularly at the wide receiver position. What I am looking forward to, at least for, and I don't want to be disrespectful, for at least to have, I think we're going to see the true version of what this offense can be because they're going to have to run it. They are going to have to pass it. It's not a lower caliber opponent. And Bama, there was weather, there was all these different things because I want to see the balance of pushing it downfield,
Yeah.
but also running that football. And what can Danzy do? What can a Big Deuce do? Those guys at the wide receiver position against a good team here. But I love the points you brought up. And then let's talk a little Virginia offense. If you're going to slow down this team, stack the box, put Cam Robinson, the talented guy from Virginia, linebacker, who they just got back last week, let him spy Tommy and make them throw the ball.
Yep.
Make them throw the ball. Do not allow them to get comfortable running it. And then it might get interesting.
It's easier said
Or
than done because you said
yeah,
Gus Malzahn has had plenty of quarterbacks that have had a lot of success, and this may
sure.
be his most athletic quarterback
Right.
that he's had,
Right. Which is saying
which
a
is
lot
scary.
because he's had a lot of great players, like you said.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Virginia offense real quick because I love Chandler Morris. I mean, he's played
It's fun.
6 seasons. I mean, he's been there for a while. He's seen a lot of football, had opportunity to cover him at North Texas. Obviously, he's had a couple stops before that, and he's a good athlete. He's an accurate thrower of the football. He makes the right decisions. He can push the ball vertically down the field. And they got some receivers, man. Like I was watching the tape, and Trell Harris got some speed, had 3 touchdowns for Stanford. Cam Ross had some really nice quickness in the open field. And I really like their running backs, especially Jamari Taylor as well. He's a tough runner, not very big at 5'9", 204, but just finds a way to. He's not afraid of contact. So
Right.
you look at this team and you say like, how can we keep this thing close? Yes, sell out defensively and see if you can force Tommy to be a passer. But I think this offense has plenty of weapons. I think they have a quarterback right now, 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception, that is playing really well right now, that has playmakers themselves, that can hit you in a variety of ways. And if you can make it uncomfortable for a half and get it to the second half and it's a 1-score game, then it's
Mhm.
kind of all
Yeah.
bets are off and you're at home.
No, I completely agree with all of that. And I think, Coach Elliott and Virginia have wanted to be balanced, right? Like that's what he did when he was at Clemson. That's what he hung his hat on. It's what he won 2 national championships doing. But the key piece that was missing was the dynamic quarterback. And they've had guys that were inconsistent, but were fun and things of that nature. They haven't had a guy like this in Chandler
No.
Morris that can operate the offense, that can sling it. He's a gunslinger. He'll throw it in tight knit windows. He's not afraid for his guys to make a play, but can also run and be really dynamic. And he's old. Like he's been
He's
around the
old.
block. He's seen a bunch of stuff, right? He's
Very old.
experienced. He knows,
Yep.
what to kind of do there. So it's all kind of coming together, right
Yeah.
now for Virginia in an interesting, kind of time in this, NIL transfer portal thing. So I'm right there with you. And I think the biggest thing is for Virginia, don't lose the game before it starts. You
Yeah.
got big bad Knowles walking in here. You see that helmet, things of that nature. You've got to believe and think that you can go shot for shot for him. And why not? I mean, you got 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards passing. You're a
Yep.
dynamic offense. And you
Yep.
got your best defensive player back too, which is a huge deal.
Who do you like?
I like the Knowles role.
Yeah,
I
let's be
think they will.
serious. Let's be
Yeah.
real. That's real. I
But
do
hey,
too.
I'd love to talk about Virginia. Let's see it. Let's see
Listen,
that.
I like this football team. I really
Yeah,
do.
they're
So
fun.
I'm thinking it's going to be a competitive game, but I do think Florida State puts it into extra gear sometime in that second half, and you may see them. I don't think of blowouts. I mean, I'm not expecting like Illinois, Indiana over here, where
Sure.
Indiana just beats them by
Yeah.
50, but I think FSU I think and FSU, like I said, FSU ain't playing around their food this year.
Right.
They're going after
That's the
people's neck.
impressive part. The only thing that I'm kinda slightly thinking about is Miami's next, and that's the Super Bowl. That's a top
But
5
you
matchup.
got an extra day, man. You got an extra
Hoping.
day.
I'm
You got
hoping.
an extra It's a Friday
I'm just saying,
game.
are they thinking about it? Are they like, "Let's get out Virginia? What are you talking about? Who knows
I
what that
mean, but still,
stadium looks
it's
like,
Virginia.
you know,
Virginia's 3-1,
motivation-wise?"
man. They're 3-1.
I hope so. I'm just saying, I've seen it before.
This ain't like a 1-3 Virginia. There's a 3-1 Virginia. We both like the Seminoles. Oregon, Penn State college game day will be in Happy Valley there, and it's going to be a whiteout. We talk about the environment in Athens, Georgia. The environment there at Penn State is going to be absolutely nuts. And I know Dante Moore has been impressive, but Dante Moore, I don't know if has played consistently in big time games on the road like this one.
Right.
So you're talking about a young quarterback going across the country against Penn State, that defense, that environment, obviously going to be a big talking point heading into this game. I'll give you the first crack though. Overall, kind of what are your initial thoughts as we start to break down Oregon versus Penn State?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Oregon handles this game, you know, because they've owned the Big Ten, right, in the regular season. They've done that, walked to the championship game, you know, was the number 1 seed last year, of course, you know, lost the rematch to Ohio State after beating them in the regular season a year ago. But this is a different team. There's a lot of new faces on it. You mentioned, you know, Dante Moore playing really, really well, very consistent, pushing the ball downfield, not turning it over. And just this team, I mean, nasty offensive line, fast defense. They look good. I mean, they look like a really great team. But when you go across the world and you're going to play a place that is historically impossible to play at, and those fans are doing their thing, and they've got 2 of the most dynamic backs in the country, the best defensive coordinator maybe in the country, things of all this nature here, it's going to be a tall task, and it's going to be fascinating to see how they go about it. I'm not in love with, you know, Aller. I don't think Penn State has played anyone, so this is by far their toughest test. But it's going to be a monster in its own right for Oregon as well. I can't wait to see the QB matchup because there's so much hype around Aller, and I'd love to see your breakdown after this game. We'll see what he does.
Yeah.
I don't believe when things get tough. I don't think you can lean on that cat. I don't think he has
Yeah.
that DNA of I'm going to win. I'm going to do everything at all costs.
I like Aller. I thought Aller played really well a year ago. Obviously, completely crapped the bed in the playoff game,
Yeah.
but I still think he's a talented quarterback. I think for me, as we look just at the offenses and the difference of these offenses, because they are very different in what they do and
Mhm.
their skill. I think the biggest thing is the skill. I'll start with Oregon first. I think Oregon's talent around Dante Moore is incredible.
Yeah.
They have 3 talented running backs. 2 of them are averaging over 11 yards per carry in Whittington and Hill. And the receivers, I love their receivers. More incredible top end speed, can win one-on-one on the outside. Benson can absolutely fly. And then they got a tight end and Kenyon that also can make some win some one-on-one
Mhm.
battles against linebackers and safeties. So you have a quarterback that's playing at a high level that can really open this offense up by pushing the ball vertically down the field. You have playmakers that can win one-on-one battles down the football field. You have running backs to keep it balanced as well. It's a very, once again this year, I think maybe even possibly a better offense than they had a year ago, a very difficult offense to slow down because they can beat you in a multitude of ways, and they're just so fast. I mean, we always think of Oregon and fast. They are that once again this year. Speed, 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 speed. And then I look at Penn State, and I love our new app we have for the ESPN got us, where you can just like put a player in there and see every play of those players.
Right.
So I went back and watched every reception from Penn State receivers this year and from Kyron Hudson to Pena, especially those 2. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not impressed. Penn State, your biggest issue a year ago, you had no receivers.
Right.
What'd you do? You went into the portal and got some guys to help with Drew Aller. I do not like the receiving core. I think Kyron Hudson is a good possession receiver. I don't think he's very explosive. I think Pena is just very average. So we talk about
You think he's
Drew Aller has
average
to be a
though? Because
superstar. Drew
I
Aller
do. Yeah, Pena's a guy that I covered a lot last year. I thought he was freaky. So my question is it your quarterback? I mean, he was 1,000-yard receiver last year. He
no,
was a
I just
great
think
player.
yeah, I think when I watch the tape of all the Oregon receivers and then I turn the
Yeah,
tape of the Penn State receivers,
yeah,
there's a gap.
it's
So
interesting.
I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I just don't think
Sure, sure,
he's an
sure.
elite player at
Yeah,
all. Like
yeah.
I think
Should have
there's
stayed at
a gap.
Syracuse. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
He
I
would have been
watched him
having a
at
lot of
Syracuse.
fun.
Like, he was
Would have been
great
having a
at
lot of fun.
Syracuse, no doubt about it. He
Yeah.
was, a huge loss for Fran Brown. I don't
Yeah.
I don't see I see big bodies, I see good possession receivers. I don't see the same kind of speed. And I think for me that's the biggest difference. Like the speed does not jump off. And we've seen it. Like that the Penn State's offense has not looked good this season.
Mhm.
They haven't.
Yeah.
Like those playmakers you think would show up in games against Nevada, FIU, and Villanova and go off.
Yeah.
And they really haven't. So like
Right.
I'm sitting back like maybe they're not as good as maybe we're
Right.
hoping they would be, or at least Penn State
Right.
fans were hoping they'd be. So like for Penn State, that's why I say the offenses are so different. A year ago in this matchup, they ran for 297 yards. Uh Katron ran for 124, Singleton ran for 105. To me, that's the thing. Can you run the football? Can you eat up the clock? Can you keep Oregon and their explosive offense off the field? Like we talk about like time of possession so weird nowadays because these offenses, does it
I
really
know.
matter? Does it
Explosive
not?
plays. Right.
I think in a game like this where you can run the football and eat up the clock and keep Oregon off the field and steal one or two possessions away from them, I
Mhm.
think that's how you keep it close. You keep the fans juiced up, excited. You kind of give them a break when you're on offense longer so that when they need them, they're ready to go when the Penn State defense comes on board. But like I said, I just have not been impressed with Drew, and I've not been impressed with the receivers for Penn State through the first 3 games.
Yeah. I'm fascinated to see. I agree with you with all of that. I think the Penn State offense has been pedestrian to what we thought it would be, especially preseason. That's why they have such a teeny number beside their
Yep.
name, because people thought that that team was going to be unbelievable and do it, at a super high level. When I look at Moore and I look at, okay, the biggest game that he's played in, what is that? Because he's going to see an environment here
Oh, yeah.
that he had never seen before, probably, right? And the things that he did, and I'm trying to go back to LSU, or excuse me, UCLA back in 23, just to see like who that opponent was.
He's a very different quarterback from them,
He
though.
was
He was
Pac-12.
bad.
Yeah,
He was
yeah, yeah,
bad.
for sure. I
Yep.
mean, probably at USC, which that's you
Not
know
the same.
this is going to be interesting. That environment's going to be tricky, and it's going to be
Yep.
loud, and it's a night game, and all these things are coming into play. How can you literally block out the noise? How can you
Yep.
understand, put your ears over your helmet, hear your coordinator, and let's go? Trust your guys, trust your throws, things of that nature. How much early does the crowd noise rattle him, if at all? That's the biggest thing for me that I'm watching. And then the mind game, between the Penn State defensive coordinator there and Dante, and the things that he's going to show him and hide and trick, because they're going to try to hit him. I mean, these guys get to the quarterback. That's what he does. This is his MO his entire career. How will, he be able to disguise Casey Knowles there, disguise the things that he wants, and try to trick this guy into throwing the ball in a bad spot?
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, if you wanna do all this stuff, just throw it out to those receivers in
Just let
space.
him run.
It just
Just
make them let them run. Speed kills, speed
Yeah.
kills. So, like, I'm leaning towards Oregon in this one. I think I love what I've seen on tape. Obviously, neither team has really played a league competition, so I think there's still a lot to learn. We're gonna learn a lot in this football game, but I have liked so much better what I've seen from Oregon on both sides of the football. Where I'm just looking at Penn State and just saying, like you said, very pedestrian on offense. And I just don't know if all of a sudden it's going to just like boom going against Oregon in this matchup.
Mhm.
I just don't see the big playmaking ability outside. And I think Oregon's going to be able to score some points. I'll take the Ducks with a massive, massive road victory.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think that gets everybody re-excited about Oregon. Not that you're not already. I mean, they're sixth in the country. But I think Danny Lanning probably gets the nod in this game too, just from an
Yep.
adjustment standpoint, from a motivational standpoint. I love that guy. I think he's one of the best in the entire country. And I think that goes in here and matters, that they're used to and operate in these big games. They win these big games. And so I think that translates as well. I think they roll by double digits. I mean, I feel
Wow,
really
that
good.
much.
I think they handle business. Too much speed. Like when you think of Big Ten physical football, Oregon is not that. Oregon
No.
is fat. Now they're physical, but they're fast. They're lightning, and I just don't know if those guys are ready for what's
If
coming.
if this game was in, November, December, maybe a little bit different
Sure,
with the
sure,
weather, but
yeah.
I mean, I think I haven't checked the weather, but I'm guessing it will be nice weather for football and a big night for that offense, so we
70
both
degrees
go
and cloudy,
to the
baby. This could be rolling. That
oh,
track's
it's
gonna
gonna be
be
perfect.
fast too.
You wanna talk about speed, there's gonna be a lot of speed on the field for our next matchup. LSU on the road against them Rebels, Ole Miss there in Oxford. And Ole Miss, I did a film breakdown. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it of Trinidad Chambliss because I know a lot of you are like, "Who the hell's Trinidad Chambliss? Who is this guy? What's his skill set?" If you need that, if you have those questions, go watch the film breakdown because I broke down their game against a quality opponent in Tulane from a week ago. I love this quarterback for Ole Miss, and I'm going to start there first. I think the kid has elite top end speed. I think he can make every throw you want. I mean, he's throwing touch passes, he's throwing go balls, he's throwing RPOs. I look at him like, what can't this kid do? He's
Right.
a little bit on the smaller side. I think he's listed at 6'1". He looks like more like he's 5'10" to me when he's surrounded by all those big offensive linemen. Probably what a lot of people said when they looked at me on the field. But um, I'm like, how is this kid just not like a bigger time recruit coming out of high school? Because there is a lot to like. I think he's perfect for Lane's offense. I think he's going to be the guy going forward. I would guess based on the way that he's played. And like I said, Tulane's a good defense that I covered a week ago against Duke and really bottled up Duke's offense for a good majority of that game. And Duke's got playmakers and a really good quarterback in Mensah. Um, and I like their skill too for Ole Miss. Harrison Wallace, Deuce Alexander. I think Daquan Wright at tight end. They do a
Yeah.
variety of things with him. They'll put him in the backfield. They'll act like he's a lead blocker. They'll get him skinny through the line of scrimmage. He's they're not as good as they were a year ago at the receiving position, but I think they're still talented enough. And then Trinidad can do so much with his legs and arm that I've been so impressed with what this offense has looked like with him at quarterback.
Yeah. All that's great until you play this LSU defense.
It's
It's all
true.
great until these
True.
boys stand tall and, hit you in the mouth. I know it's a home game, which is great, but, I know Lane's a little salty about it being at 2:30 as well, not a night game there, but I love this LSU defense, and I have
Yeah.
been so pleasantly surprised since week one, just about how they have come out hitting, physicality, flying around, blitzing, in coverage. I mean, Delane Mansour, he's the best cornerback in the country. I mean, this guy is a freak transferring over from Virginia Tech, taking full advantage of his opportunity, and Harold Perkins, all the linebackers. I mean,
Yeah.
Weeks, we'll see, if they get all
Weeks.
the Weeks brothers back, but it's been fun to watch them fly around and make big time plays. And I just think, you got a quarterback who obviously is a senior. He's going to be a big piece with his legs, things of that nature. But when he starts getting hit by these boys, it's going to be interesting to see how the play calling changes. I think also we probably should have started with this. The breaking news of Weeks and Lane Kiffin's
Oh, I
daughter
was going to ask
dating.
you about that.
What are we doing? I mean, are we a pop culture show now? Like, how much is that a part of this game plan? Well, Lane Kiffin's
Do
telling
you
us,
go do
hey,
you go shake Lane's hand before the game and just say, "Hey,
going right
I'm
up to him
dating your
saying, "Hey, dad.
daughter.
Hey, dad. Good to see
Hey,
you."
dad. Hey, dad. Hey, dad." Um,
How
I
much
think
is
you
Lane
ha
trying to target that guy, by the way? How much is he trying to light
Oh,
him
he
up?
I wonder if he, has maybe a crackback block on him at some point, just to see if his, possibly
The
future
guy has a
son-in-law
note,
can
he,
take
like,
it.
sticks it on Weeks's head, and then Weeks reads it, and he's just
Weeks
looking like
has to
he's just
shake his hand
staring
though
at him.
pregame and just introduce
Of
himself,
course.
correct?
Of
Yeah.
course. That's
What is the daughter wearing one of those 50-50 jerseys with, like, Weeks and then Ole
no,
Miss
dude.
on
They
one side,
just
or she's full Ole
announced
Miss?
no, 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 no. She better be in our sideline, our jersey. No way. No split. You can do that when you get married or engaged, not the first time we announced it 2 days ago.
How long have they been dating, though? Do you think it's been
Who knows? They
ongoing?
just got official. It feels weird talking
Just got
about them.
official.
They just became a hard launch, just hard
Do you think
launch.
he's doing this on purpose for mind games heading into the game?
I think it was her choice, which is weird. Super
Interesting.
weird.
Very
Fascinating.
interesting. All right. Well, there you go. Not breaking news, but interesting news. Whit Weeks, starting linebacker, one of the best in the SEC, dating Lane Kiffin's daughter and decides to go public the week of their big time matchup. No, he's a beast, man. He's
He is a
a
beast.
funny dude. I've watched a couple of those SEC, the Netflix documentary. I actually
Yeah.
need to finish it because I thought they did a good job. But just what a great personality
No doubt.
and obviously a great playmaker there. So, yes, I agree with you. Back to the matchup here. This
Sorry.
offense has not faced a defense like LSU. My big concern, obviously, that is a concern, but flipping around to the other side, LSU's lack of running ability, and we talk about this with Alabama and Georgia, and Ole Miss's defense is not as good. They lost a lot from a year ago, but still has been pretty salty to start this season. When you're going against an offense that has struggled against lesser opponents than even what Ole Miss is, like I'm not like I'm not like feeling like LSU is just rolling into this thing and gonna put up 40, 50 points against Ole
Mhm.
Miss.
Mhm.
Am I
No,
wrong on
I'm
that
I'm
one?
with
You think last week was what they needed for LSU to kinda get things to right the ship offensively?
Well, I certainly think it helps because it's just like a
Yeah,
confidence thing because you just kind of can't get out of your own way, right? And
yep.
and just as a quarterback to see yourself throwing 3 touchdowns, throwing for almost 300 yards, running the ball okay, that's just who they are, though. They're going to lean on us and they're going to lean on him, slinging the ball all around. And so, how much does that defense help you? How much extra possessions do they give you? 5 turnovers? Probably not. But you got to also take advantage of that. Like we just saw Miami stone those dudes from Florida, and you couldn't do really anything with 5 extra opportunities. So where are you now? How can you get it going? Nuss, continue to be that guy we thought you were week one, where you were making all kinds of crazy dot throws, really, really impressive, and get this offense back going because it's kind of strange to see them sputtering out, before last week for those couple of games there. So is this a get back on track game? I don't think so, but I do think we see them look more competent than we did in week 2 and week 3 against lesser, opponents there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people be like, "Oh, look what Taylor Green did to him. Threw for 305 yards, ran for 115." But, like, you're defending Taylor Green so much differently than you are Garrett
Correct.
Nussmeier in this offense. Like,
Correct.
you're going against Taylor Green, there's a lot of, like, we gotta put extra bodies in the box. We gotta then more one-on-ones. Like, this is a game where Ole Miss and Pete Golding kinda sit back and just say, "Hey, defensive line, see if you guys can eat, play coverage in the back end, and just see if LSU is going to try to commit." And I thought they did even, like, week 1. I thought they did a decent job trying to commit to the run a little bit, but,
Right.
how healthy is Caden Durham heading into this game? A little banged up with his ankle. Really don't have a lot of depth behind him.
Correct.
So, I mean, let's make our picks here. I'm gonna do it. I'm going Ole Miss. I
Are you?
am I am in love with Trinidad Chambliss. I am, and I have a feeling that maybe it's gonna bite me in the butt going against this LSU defense. I am of the 2 offenses, to be honest, I'm more concerned about LSU's offense right now, which
I
I did
think that's
not think I
fair.
would be
Yeah.
saying that.
Right. Me either. I totally think that's fair. I just think the defense is too much to handle. I think they get back to him. I think they hit him. I think they create chaos. Maybe score. Who knows? Just do it yourself,
Yep.
like you did against Florida. Give me the Tigers to make it happen here. What's the line? The line's like 1.5. Ole Miss favored,
Yeah, I
I
think Ole Miss
think.
is slightly favored.
Crazy. It's crazy, but is what it is. It's going to be
Is it?
interesting. I think if it was a night game, maybe I, lean a little bit more. I think LSU goes in there and gets it done.
All right, another big time road matchup for Auburn heading into Texas A&M and Kyle Field this weekend. So you go from Oklahoma, lose a very, very tough fought football game, and then you gotta turn it around and go on the road to probably one of the most difficult environments in all of college football there at Kyle Field. We talked about this one, the Auburn team this past week in our review show. I think walk away from that game with a lot of confidence, but I still lean on the fact that you have to turn around and go back on the road. I think just a physical, mental exhaustion,
Yeah.
and then you got an A&M team that's at home coming off a bye.
Right.
I think to me, that is the biggest difference. I think overall, I kinda like Auburn's football team more than A&M.
Okay.
I just think the situation right now is just unfortunate, kind of the way the schedule worked out for the Tigers.
Yeah. No, it definitely, definitely isn't great timing.
No.
When you look at this thing, I think that the blueprint was revealed last week on how to beat Auburn. Now, I'm not saying you have to go out and get 10 sacks because that's unbelievable. And does everybody have that ability? Probably not. But load the box, blitz, see if Jackson Arnold can throw it. And I don't think he can. I don't think he has that skill set to beat you, to beat a high quality team. We saw what Texas A&M did to Notre Dame, who I think has a better running attack than Auburn does. Now,
Yep.
different quarterback dynamics there, but should be a similar game plan defensively. Load it up, blitz, stunts, chaotic things, and you have your home field advantage, and that place is going to be rocking. Been there as well.
Yeah.
It's a crazy, crazy place. With all of that in mind, I think that A&M does their thing. I think that their offense is fun. I think they're running with a lot
Dude,
of
I
high
love
octane right
Auburn's
now.
defense, though. I love Auburn's defense. I
You
think
just
that
love Auburn.
defense
You love Auburn. It's all good.
I think
I'm an
Auburn's a
Auburn.
good football team. I think they
Yeah,
they 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 went into a tough environment a week ago and
yeah,
had legitimate opportunities to win that game against the
sure,
Sooners.
sure,
Whether it's officials calls or a couple missed opportunities. I went back and broke down that quarterback. So make sure if you haven't seen that one from Jackson Arnold, go watch that. So and Oklahoma fans will probably say, "Oh, we missed opportunities too." I get it, but like
sure.
you are competitive against a team right now that is one of the hottest in the country and ranked in the top 10 on the road. I think the defense is legit.
Mhm,
I think the offensive line is gonna be better than they were a week ago. Um, I think this is how much can Jackson Arnold grow in a week?
mhm.
Because you said, like, this A&M defense is more built to stop the run, and they are. I mean, the whole Jeremiah Love to, 23 carries and less than 100 yards, I think it was like 94 yards carries is a
Yeah,
pretty good job against the best running back in college football.
right.
But CJ Carr went off. This is the game where, like, I fell in love with CJ Carr watching him against A&M's defense.
Mhm.
He carved them up.
Yeah.
Auburn has better receivers, but is Jackson Arnold ready to hit those plays down the field? Has he improved in 6 days
Right.
from what he did versus Oklahoma to now what he's gonna face on the road there in A&M? And that's a big difference. And if he has, and if
How
he's able
can
to
you
return
though?
those deep
How
throws, I
can
think they
because you
win the
showed
football
it. I mean,
game.
your breakdown of guys screaming wide open. That big boy
Screaming.
post where, dude, just throw it 2 yards in front of him, which again, I know it's hard to do. I'm talking
Yeah.
trash. But lay that thing out there and it scores and that
Yep.
breaks it open and it changes everything. I just don't think he's that guy. I think he's a super good athlete, super fun to watch. Maybe he can develop into the better passer, but right
Yep.
now, that's the
Yeah,
recipe for
it's
me.
hard to make those improvements in a week, and I
Correct.
think
Correct.
you're walking into a very confident A&M team
Yeah.
that won a monster game on the road. Marcel Reed's feeling himself, elite playmakers on the outside, and Craver and Concepcion. That's the
Right.
difference too, like, A&M has way better playmakers than Oklahoma does on the outside.
Mhm.
Way
Mhm.
better.
And how
Way
they can
better, and
yeah.
an athletic quarterback too that can run. So, I think it's a pretty even matchup. I don't know what the spread is, but I think
Six and a
being at
half
home.
Aggies, 6.5 Aggies.
See, I'm probably gonna end up when we make our picks, I'm probably gonna lean more Auburn with the points. I think this is like a field goal game. I think it's close. Like, I'm in the point 2 right now. I think Auburn may be the better team.
Okay.
That I'm not gonna be surprised if Auburn wins, but I'm definitely taking them with the points.
Okay. I like that. Gig 'em Aggies. Let's go, baby. We're a lot
Gig
of
'em Aggies.
opposites today. I love
Yeah.
this. This is big time.
All right, last one real quick. USC on the road against Illinois, who you want to talk about licking their wounds right now after a massive loss.
Beat down.
Illinois got bent over and spanked by Indiana. I mean, just bent over and spanked. They're at home in Champaign. USC making a big trip over there. Is this a get right game for Illinois, or does USC make a statement with a
Yeah.
win?
I think they're licking their wounds, man. And I think when you get beat that bad, that's tough. That's embarrassing to see and how it happened. I like Mayava a lot at USC. I
A
need you to look
lot.
at him too. I need you to take a
Oh
peek
yeah,
at him.
I have. Very
Yeah,
impressed.
throws a good ball and 1,200 passing yards, just slinging that thing. He's a big time prospect. A lot of people wanted him in the offseason. And I like this offense and what USC is doing right now. I think, I don't know if they roll because I do want to still give credit to this physical team in Illinois. And maybe it was just a bad day, a really bad day. But that when you get beat that bad, there's a blueprint. And I think the one thing, can USC take advantage of pressuring Altmaier? Like, can they
Yeah.
get to him and hit him, sack him, and not make the mistakes, not turn the ball over? That seems to be a fun recipe. And you got a big guy in Shelby there, defensive end for USC, that's saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna give me some of these. This is gonna be a sack game for me, where I jump up these boards and try to make a big impression."
Yeah, I know it's weird to say, but, like, the blueprint was kinda shown in the Duke game versus
Was
Illinois
yeah,
of how to beat that team, how to get after them, and make life very difficult on both sides. Because I thought Duke threw the ball extremely well as well, and you saw Indiana a week ago and Fernando Mendoza, 2 incompletions, 5
you said it
tutties.
looked like 7 on 7, and then you go back and watch it, and you just see this guy straight
It
bang,
was 7
straight
on
bang.
7, and so, like, I'm saying, like, from what Mensa did and those guys and how good they looked
Right?
for a good majority of that game
Yeah.
to then what Indiana just did. Like we say, man, you are who you are at this point in the season, and Illinois just does not have a pass defense, and you're going against a guy that we both absolutely love, and Jaden at the quarterback spot, who has 9 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1,200 yards passing so far this
Fun.
season.
It's fun.
With playmakers on the outside. So, like, I think this is a big statement game for USC. I think the bigger statement's gonna be if they're able to take on Michigan the next week and show the physicality,
Correct.
and if they've grown in that department. But I
Mhm.
think in a game where you can win with finesse and throwing the football, which has proven to work against Illinois, USC's built to do that. So,
Yeah.
yes, I think Illinois or USC goes on the road and wins this football game.
Come on. Me too. I'm right there with you, brother. It's gonna be a fun weekend. Big weekend. Let's go.
Week 5. All right, that's the week 5 recap show. Like, subscribe, go follow us on the socials. We have a lot of cool stuff there as well. A lot of cool videos this week on breaking down quarterbacks and teams. And yeah, enjoy the weekend, man. We'll have our Thursday show, have a big guest. David Pollock is going to be joining us to go deeper into this Georgia Alabama game. Obviously, we'll touch on some other games with him as well. So make sure you tune back into that one, and we will see you all Thursday.
Okay.